welcome back. We're talking kids with Dr. Caitlynn. She's Lexington pediatrician, Dr. Caitlynn Iddings.
Yes, and today's topic is stuttering and how it can affect young people. So Dr. Caitlynn, good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
So what is the official definition of stuttering? Because everybody's heard about it, knows about it, but what exactly is stuttering?
Yeah, and so stuttering is a language disorder, right? And there's a difference between what we call just developmental stuttering and then just true stuttering, right? And so a lot of times parents will get worried with toddlers because they will seem to be struggling to kind of get their words out. And under age 4, it can really be pretty normal for kids to kind of have issues with that intermittently. And so teasing out, is it a true stutter, right? Is it a true language disorder? Or is it just like a developmental normal thing that's happening with your kid is really important. And so if it starts happening under age 4, it's more likely it's just developmental, right? If the kids are older than 7 and it's continuing, then it's likely more a stutter, right? Something that you actually are going to have to try to deal with, see a speech language pathologist, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And the mechanism for a stutter, though, is that anxiety? Is it something going on with the language still?
Yeah, no. So it can be made worse by anxiety, or if someone's in like a high stress or a very excited situation, it can be made worse. But a lot of times in the younger kids, it's really just, like I said, it's developmental. Their brains are going so fast, and their mouth can't keep up with it yet, right? And so other ways to kind of differentiate. So in little kids who are just working on learning language, they'll repeat full words, right? So they'll be like, I can't do it, or I can't do it, right? Versus a true stutter, it's gonna be having a hard time getting that first part out, so it'll be more syllables. So like the sometimes, right? Or, or the did I do it, right? So that's kind of one way you can sort of differentiate. If they're repeating full words or 1 or 2 words and then they get it out, then that's probably normal. If you're noticing that they're having a really hard time getting the words started, or a specific phrase is syllable is repeated, that's more concerning for true stuttering, right? Another way you can kind of differentiate is by kind of watching the way their mouth and their body is working with the speech, because in benign childhood stuttering in toddlers, there's not any sort of tension that comes with it, right? They're just talking and then they sort of repeat it. Versus true stuttering, you'll see that they're actually like physically like trying to get that word out. They're contorting their mouth or their eyes, or they'll look to the side. They're really like using their body to try to force those words out. So that can be another way to kind of tease that out.
But cool. They kind of differentiate. Yeah, if this is something you need to address, and let's say you do, like you mentioned, maybe age 7, a little something like that, and some of those other ways that you can tell, then what do you do as far as seeking help
and so
or treatment?
Treatment is to see a speech language pathologist, and there's direct and indirect treatments. So the indirect is more teaching the parent ways to kind of help them through this, which can be very effective, versus direct is where they're actually going in, they're teaching them ways, okay, let's relax your face, let's try to do this, different techniques for kind of minimizing it or getting rid of it. And so for parents, if you have a little one that's sort of struggling, some things you can do is it's not really helpful to tell them like, okay, slow down, right? Because it's not that they are going too fast, it's just they are having a hard time getting the words out. But sort of rephrasing questions for them like, oh, did you play on the playground today? You know, making it more like yes or no type things. Whereas if they're like, oh, you played on the playground today, like helping them through that. And then just making sure also that, you know, if they're aware of it, it's okay to talk about them with them and say, it's okay to have bumpy words. It's not a big deal. You know,
treatable.
It's not a big deal, but if they aren't aware of it, you don't necessarily have to like bring it up because you don't want to make them uncomfortable. But when you get to see the language pathologist, clearly you're going to kind of talk through that.
America's greatest orator, James Earl Jones, had a horrific stutter when he was a young man and overcame it.
Yeah, it's definitely treatable, absolutely. Dr. Caitlynn, good to see you this morning. All right, thanks for being with us today. We'll be right back.